Hi, welcome to the quiz. You can answer along on quizalto.com, all for free. The exact URL of this quiz will be in the notes down below. Let's get started. Good luck. What is a primary function of AWS Firewall Manager? Optimizing data storage costs. Managing serverless application deployments. Enforcing security policies for AWS resources. Executing machine learning algorithms. A primary function of AWS Firewall Manager is to enforce security policies consistently across AWS resources to maintain a secure environment. What is the AWS service that AWS Firewall Manager integrates with to provide web application firewall capabilities? Amazon GuardDuty, AWS Shield, Amazon Inspector, AWS WAF. AWS Firewall Manager integrates with AWS WAF to provide web application firewall capabilities and protect against common web exploits. What is the benefit of using AWS Firewall Manager to manage AWS WAF? Automated deployment of Lambda functions. Database query optimization. Centralized management of web access control lists. Real-time monitoring of S3 buckets. AWS Firewall Manager provides centralized management of web access control lists when integrated with AWS WAF, ensuring consistent protection against web exploits. What is the purpose of AWS Firewall Manager? Centralized management of firewall rules. Load balancing across multiple regions. Database query optimization. Automated backups of EC2 instances. AWS Firewall Manager provides centralized management of firewall rules across multiple AWS accounts and applications. What is the benefit of using AWS Firewall Manager in a multi-account environment? Ensures that all accounts comply with security policies. Provides real-time monitoring of network traffic. Enables cross-region replication of S3 buckets. Automatically scales EC2 instances based on traffic. AWS Firewall Manager helps ensure that all accounts comply with security policies by centrally managing firewall rules. What type of resources can AWS Firewall Manager manage? Elastic load balancers and RDS instances. S3 buckets and Lambda functions. VPC security groups and AWS WAF web access control lists. IAM roles and policies. AWS Firewall Manager can manage VPC security groups and AWS WAF web access control lists to help protect your resources. What is a key advantage of using AWS Firewall Manager with AWS WAF for web access control? Automated scaling of Route 53 resources. Centralized management of web access control lists. Real-time monitoring of EBS volumes. Optimization of DynamoDB performance. One advantage of using AWS Firewall Manager with AWS WAF is the centralized management of web access control lists for enhanced protection against web exploits. What is a key feature of AWS Firewall Manager? Integration with external DNS providers. Integration with managed database services. Integration with third-party firewalls. Integration with AWS organizations for centralized management. AWS Firewall Manager integrates with AWS organizations to provide centralized management of security policies across multiple AWS accounts. What role does AWS Firewall Manager play in securing cloud environments? Increasing scalability of infrastructure. Centralized enforcement of security policies. Enabling public access to cloud resources. Optimizing network latency for application traffic. AWS Firewall Manager plays a role in securing cloud environments by providing centralized enforcement of security policies, preventing unauthorized access and protecting against cyber threats. What is a benefit of AWS Firewall Manager's integration with AWS organizations? Increased storage capacity for S3 buckets. Improved CPU performance for workloads. Enhanced data encryption for stored data. Centralized management of security policies across accounts. Integration with AWS organizations allows AWS Firewall Manager to provide centralized management of security policies across multiple AWS accounts, ensuring consistent security measures are enforced. What is a benefit of using AWS Firewall Manager for managing application security? Public exposure of application assets. Delayed response to security incidents. Automatic scaling of application resources. Enhanced protection against common web exploits. Using AWS Firewall Manager provides enhanced protection against common web exploits, helping to secure applications and prevent security breaches. What benefit does AWS Firewall Manager provide for organizations with multiple AWS accounts? Centralized management of security policies. Less flexible firewall configurations. Lower network bandwidth for inter-account traffic. Increased manual review of logs. AWS Firewall Manager provides centralized management of security policies for organizations with multiple AWS accounts, ensuring that security measures are consistent and effectively enforced. How does AWS Firewall Manager help improve security posture across an organization? By increasing public access to resources. By automatically remediating non-compliant resources. By generating weekly compliance reports. By requiring manual review of security settings. AWS Firewall Manager helps improve security posture by automatically remediating non-compliant resources and ensuring that security policies are enforced consistently. What does AWS Firewall Manager help organizations achieve in terms of security posture? Slower response to security incidents. Higher cost of data storage. Consistent enforcement of security policies. Increased scope of access control. AWS Firewall Manager helps organizations achieve a consistent enforcement of security policies across multiple AWS accounts and resources, improving the overall security posture. What is the key advantage of using AWS Firewall Manager to manage security policies for EC2 instances? Ensures uniform enforcement of security rules across instances. Provides real-time monitoring of metric data. Enables automatic scaling of network resources. Automatically provisions additional S3 buckets. AWS Firewall Manager ensures uniform enforcement of security rules for EC2 instances across accounts and regions. How does AWS Firewall Manager simplify the enforcement of security policies for customers using AWS resources? By allowing users to bypass security policies for urgent tasks. By providing a single set of scalable management tools. By requiring manual review and approval for each policy change. By limiting the number of regions that policies can be applied to. AWS Firewall Manager simplifies the enforcement of security policies by providing a single set of scalable management tools for managing policies across accounts. What is one of the key benefits of using AWS Firewall Manager to manage security policies for AWS resources? Enhanced error detection and recovery capabilities. Automated data migration between regions. Simplified administration and enforcement of security rules. Increased network throughput for EC2 instances. One of the key benefits of using AWS Firewall Manager is the simplified administration and enforcement of security rules for AWS resources, ensuring a secure environment. What does AWS Firewall Manager provide organizations with in terms of security management? Public access to audit logs. Dynamic allocation of network resources. Automatic scaling of application resources. Streamlined policy enforcement for security rules. AWS Firewall Manager provides organizations with streamlined policy enforcement for security rules, ensuring that security measures are consistently applied and maintained across AWS resources. What is the primary advantage of using AWS Firewall Manager to manage security policies for multiple AWS accounts? Automated deployment of ECS clusters. Real-time monitoring of CloudWatch metrics. Enhanced machine learning capabilities. Uniform enforcement of security rules across all accounts. The primary advantage of using AWS Firewall Manager for multiple AWS accounts is the uniform enforcement of security rules across all accounts for consistent security. What is a benefit of using AWS Firewall Manager for managing network security policies? Random deletion of security groups. Centralized control and visibility. Optimized latency for network traffic. Public exposure of VPN configurations. Using AWS Firewall Manager provides centralized control and visibility for managing network security policies, allowing organizations to monitor and secure network traffic effectively. What is a key benefit of using AWS Firewall Manager for managing security groups? Consistent application of rules across resources. Public exposure of security configurations. Delayed response to policy violations. Increased complexity in rule configuration. A key benefit of using AWS Firewall Manager for managing security groups is the consistent application of rules across multiple resources, ensuring that security policies are uniformly enforced. What is a security group in the context of AWS Firewall Manager? A virtual firewall for EC2 instances. A load balancer for web applications. A data encryption service. A cloud-based intrusion detection system. A security group in AWS Firewall Manager acts as a virtual firewall that controls inbound and outbound traffic for EC2 instances. What role does AWS Firewall Manager play in security management for AWS resources? Delayed response to security incidents. Public exposure of security configurations. Centralized enforcement of security policies. Increased visibility into security events. AWS Firewall Manager plays a role in security management for AWS resources by providing centralized enforcement of security policies to ensure consistent security measures are applied. How does AWS Firewall Manager help simplify the management of security policies across multiple AWS accounts? By automatically deploying security patches to all instances. By providing a centralized console to create and apply security policies. By offering built-in antivirus protection for all instances. By enabling direct access to the underlying server infrastructure. AWS Firewall Manager simplifies management of security policies by providing a centralized console to create and apply these policies across multiple AWS accounts. What is a benefit of using AWS Firewall Manager for managing security groups? Public exposure of security configurations. Consistent application of rules across resources. Increased complexity in rule configuration. Delayed response to policy violations. A benefit of using AWS Firewall Manager for managing security groups is the consistent application of rules across multiple resources, ensuring that security policies are uniformly enforced. And that's a wrap. Thanks to everyone who participated. Remember, you can answer along on quizalto.com, where you can keep track of your progress and find much more quizzes. We hope you had a fun and challenging time. Until next time. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel for more. Hit the bell icon to be notified as soon as we upload. Please leave a comment if you have any thoughts or suggestions, and if you think this video is worth sharing with someone who could benefit from it, please forward a link to them. See you next time. Thanks for watching.